Hey guys, Mel here, and we are gonna do a little flat iron curl tutorial today. So my hair currently is a couple days old. So typically I feel like when I retouch up my curls, I'll do them with a curling iron, which is kind of funny. But we're gonna do it with a curling iron today. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prep my hair with the Ouai Memory Mist. What I like about this stuff is there's no feeling to it, but it has a heat protectant, which is awesome. And it helps your hair remember the curl pattern, which obviously is why it's called Memory Mist. So I actually haven't touched my hair in 2 days. I did brush it out so it is a little poofy, but I mean, this is what it looks like after 2 days of sleeping on it and sweating in it and just living in it. So pretty awesome. I just like to kind of shake my hair around and make sure that that has fully set in there and there's no extreme wet marks, as that will singe your hair. What I like about the Memory Mist is that it's quite literally a mist, so it really absorbs and settles into the hair pretty quickly. Another heat protectant that I really like is the Melu Hair Shield from Davines. If you would like this one, let me know and I can order it for you. Otherwise, with the Ouai, you can order it online or they do sell it at Sephora. So, with doing flat iron curls, if this is your first time, I would suggest doing it with no heat on the iron to get used to the hand motions. I don't section my hair. I just do top to bottom of my sections, and I typically will just block off like from the ear and in front and do that first and then move to the back, and then again with this side I'll kind of like section off the front to the back as well. But that's really it. I kind of like to just curl the hair from where it naturally sits on my head. I don't really like to section it and create these different layers or levels to the hair. Okay, so without the heat on, things you want to remember are, I always say you want to start out with your hand in an awkward position. So when curling away from the hair on this is my left side, I am going to start with my knuckles forward because that's going to force me to curl away from my face. If I start out grabbing the hair like this, going further is going to feel really hard and awkward, and I'm gonna want to start going towards my face, and that's not the direction that we want to go. So I always suggest taking a bigger section first, then going to small. The smaller the section, the tighter the curl. And we don't really want tight curls. We're gonna go for that loose kind of beach wave, messy tousledness. So I like my sections to be bigger in depth than in width. So I'm gonna go narrower this way and go bigger this way. So after you have completely smoothed out your sections and there's no hairs that will snag, again, I don't have heat on my flat iron, so that's not going to actually curl, but this is how we're going to practice our hand motions. So knuckles facing forward, we're going to go up into the hair section. We are going to clamp the flat iron at the top of the hair strand, couple inches from your scalp. The roots are always going to be at the tip of the flat iron, and we are going to direct our ends to the bottom of the flat iron. So what you're going to do is flat iron, tip into the top of your roots. We're going to direct our other hand towards our chin, wrapping it around the iron. Then we are going to twist our hand halfway, and we're going to drag down, guiding our ends through to the end of the iron, keeping this angle to the hair so that it elongates the curl. We're gonna let it go all the way down to the end, and then we're going to release. And I mean, this is curl leftover, so once we have heat on it, it's actually going to be a tighter curl, even though I'm not even mad at just like that loose little wave. What I like to do is I like to go through and curl my whole head, then run my fingers through, break up the curls. Anything that's too big or too loose or too tight, I will readjust at that moment. So we're gonna do it one more time before we turn on the heat. You're gonna take your flat iron, knuckles facing forward. You're going to insert your hair into the tip of the iron. You're going to rotate your ends towards your chin while turning your hand to where your thumb now faces forward. You're going to slide the hair all the way down, keeping your ends towards the end of the iron so that your curl is elongated. You're gonna go all the way down and release. All right, so now we're gonna turn the heat on. I like to have my heat, again, my flat iron is a Babyliss Nano Titanium. I, on this one, like to keep my heat between 25 and 30. I feel like that's totally high enough to accomplish what I need. My hair is thicker and a little bit coarse. If you have fine hair though, I'd probably say between 20 and 25 is enough. And if you've got really thick, naturally curly, coarse hair, you probably need to be at 30 to 35. So we're just gonna let the iron heat up until you can feel the heat. This one does heat up pretty fast, so it's already good to go. What I like to do first before I start out is go around and smooth any kinks. So right there in the front of my hairline, we're just gonna smooth out these little bumps. And then I always like to check around my ear down here and make sure that those are nice and smooth. If you tend to get little waves down at the nape of the neck that will bug you, you can also smooth those out, but I mean, they're not gonna really be seen, so visually there's no reason to do it. Okay, so we're gonna separate the front from the back. We're going to take a pretty big section. I mean, what, like probably 2 inches by maybe an inch, maybe a half an inch. Smooth it all out, making sure there's no hairs that will snag, pull, break, or snap. We're going to take our iron with our knuckles facing forward. We are going to insert the hair at the top of the iron. Now, since the iron is hot, we're going to do this in a fluid motion. So we're going to close the iron, wrap our hand where our thumb is facing forward. Our ends are now directed toward our chin. With pretty significant pressure, we're going to flow the iron all the way down the hair and release. Now I'm gonna come under that section and take the section right above my ear, smoothing it all out. We're going to insert the hair at the end of the flat iron and in one fluid motion. Rotate our hand so our thumb is facing forward, ends directed down so that our curl is elongated, and release. So now we're going to come to our next top section. And I'm gonna cut these hairs out because they kind of create like a fine point and I don't want any pressure on any singular hairs. So again, smooth it out. We're going to insert the hair at the tip of the iron, directing our ends downward into an elongated shape towards our chin, and slowly pull all the way down. You don't want to move too fast. You definitely want a nice slow pace. You want that heat to pass through the section evenly, and you want to have a good pressure. You'll kind of, in your practice round, feel like, okay, that's too tight, I can't move it, or that's too loose and I don't feel like it did anything. Basically, you're mimicking how you would curl a string off of like a wrapping paper or something, where you just fold it across the scissors and zoop down it. Now this piece I probably should have incorporated with my under bottom piece. It is a smaller section of hair, so I'm going to be very gentle, and we're just going to do some light pressure, zip down, nothing crazy. Now, when you get to these front sections, this is where it changes for everybody. If you have a curtain bang, you're just gonna wanna do, honestly, like a slight little like bend and like be done. All you're wanting to do if you have a curtain bang is to bend it enough so that it blends in with the rest of your curls. If you have long hair and it's all one length, you just curl it like normal with one exception, and I'll show it to you right now. Me, I've kind of got in between. I've got a layer to it though, so it does bevel down. So it's shorter in my top piece and it's gonna be longer down here. So what I wanna do with these front pieces is we're gonna take it flat like this. We aren't gonna come out and extend it this way and lengthen it. We are going to keep it flat this way. And why that's important is because when it sits with the rest of the hair, we want our curl to swoop down like that. If we come out and we curl it this way, it's not gonna have that swoop. So then as your hair kind of starts to loosen the curl throughout the day, you're always gonna have that nice soft swoop to it. So again, we're gonna take it out this way, nice and flat. And this is the only time that you really do something different. We're gonna take the iron, we're going to come in at cheek level, almost like you're chiseling out your cheekbone with like your contour or something. I don't do that, but I know that that's how you do it. So we're gonna come at cheek level. We are going to clamp this way, which is different than clamping this way around the rest of the head, okay? So we're gonna go up and down, knuckles still facing forward. We're going to clamp at the tip and we're going to lightly bend. We're still elongating our curl around our iron. And what that does is it just allows it to be that soft bend through here where it's going to frame our face nicely. You don't want volume starting too high. Above the brow is going to widen your forehead, and we don't want that. We want our forehead to look nice and cute and small. Where we want our widening to happen is at our eyes and our cheekbone. We want to draw the eye up into this area, soften it in this area, and lengthen through our jawbone to elongate our face. So it's very important around your face that your width of your curl is between your cheekbone and your eye bone. All right, so there we have it. Now, typically, like I said, I would wait until I do my entire head, but I'm gonna go through and rake this side so I can kind of show you what it's looking like. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing that maybe might be a little bit weird is right in here. I'm kind of feeling like it's just too uniformed, so, and maybe a little too bouncy. So I'm actually just gonna take this piece again and I'm gonna loop through it one more time, really elongating it down. There, I like that better. I like how that just kind of broke that up a little bit. So now I'm just gonna paste through the rest of my head. When I get to the back of my hair, I don't really take specific sections. I, like I said, like to curl the hair with where it sits on my head. So I will quite honestly just like rake my finger down into a section. The thing that I keep consistent though is pulling my sections out this way, going in, roots at the top of the section, direct my ends down to elongate that curl. Now with these back sections, for extra tension, I do pull forward. With the ones around your face, since you're so close right there, it's easy to just pull out and down. But with these ones, I will clamp, turn, and pull forward. Again, taking decent sized sections, but obviously that's going to be too big, so I'm just going to split that in half, go in, clamp it down, release, next section, all the way down. Now we're at the bottom. And I have now done half my head. Pretty fast, pretty easy. Now again, like I said, I would wait until I have done my entire head to shake it out, especially for those of you whose curls don't last very long. You want to let those curls really cool into that formation. So now I'm going to come around to my other side, and this is where it gets a little bit different because I'm a dominant right-handed person. So if I were to go in this way and try to bend around, it's going to get messy and confusing in there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in, same technique. We're going to keep the ends at the tip of our flat iron. We're going to bend around, but what you're going to do is let your ends go and pick them up on the other side. So essentially that looks like clamp it down, bend and rotate, come around and guide those ends down. I missed a little bit, but it'll be okay. Taking our next section, smoothing it out, clamping at the top, rotating around. When you bend that iron around, it should help kick those ends around for you to grab on the other side. If for some reason you're having a hard time grabbing them, just slowly keep moving your iron down so you don't get too tight of a kink. We're going to take this front bottom section, again, a pretty delicate small piece. Perfect. Now I'm not one of those that's going to sit here and like rotate the piece and like, oh, curl, curl, curl. We don't want a super gnarly curl anyways. So I don't touch them. I don't and add more twists. That's not something that I do. I don't really feel like I need to. It's already looking exactly how I want it to. So I don't mess with them. Like I said, I'll curl my whole head and then go back through. If anything needs to be touched up, I'll touch it up then. So front piece, again, we're gonna flatten this way. This does get a little tricky on your dominant side. So we're gonna take our ends, we're gonna come around our hand, knuckles facing forward. We're going to gently do the bend on this side, just like we did on the other. You're just having to go around your hand ever so slightly. I might redo that one now because I can tell it's probably going to be a little too loose. Cool, okay. So now I'm just going to zip through the back, and I'm going to I'll turn so you can see what I'm grabbing. I mean, this is how big of a piece I am grabbing. I'm smoothing it out. I know by feel that I'll be fine with this size. And again, if it's too big afterwards, I could just go through, break that curl up and redo a section of it. So I'm going to take it, hair towards the tip of the iron. We are going to turn our iron, reach through for our ends and pull all the way down. Again, we're directing that hair forward to get a little extra tension. If you have short hair, the underneath pieces are not essential to curl. And by short, I mean like shoulders and above. You don't really need to curl this underneath part. If anything, you just need to give it a messy bend. Curling too much of the underneath is going to make your hair come out more in the back and give you like a big poof around the nape of your neck. And you don't want that. If anything, you want that to be flatter down in this part with more volume on your top. So I tell a lot of my short-haired girls, you don't even have to worry about curling your underneath, especially if it's like chin length and you're trying to just give your hair some texture. Just curl like basically above your bone back here. Another way to check if you've curled all your hair is to kind of swish it to one side, move it around, pick up any pieces you might have left out. Now we're gonna rake through and we're gonna see, I can tell already this was too big and this top piece didn't curl. So we're gonna grab that. We're gonna pull through roots to ends. Maybe we'll do this piece too. Cool. So now we're gonna fluff both sides together and see how we did. I like to really rake my hands through it at this moment because it's gonna tell me, like, is anything gonna fall flat? Is anything already too loose? Is anything too tight? My hair holds curl pretty well, especially when I use the memory mist, so I'm not too worried about it falling flat. It's more honestly like if anything's too tight, but I'm digging that. So now I'm gonna take my dry shampoo. If I just blow dried my hair, I use my dry shampoo immediately. If I just blow dried and curled my hair, I absolutely use my dry shampoo immediately. This Evo one is my favorite because it gives the hair a nice grit. It's not too moist or damp to where it makes it sticky or tacky. It's not too powdery where you feel like you've got a bunch of gunk in it. It could potentially give out a white powder, but I always suggest right after you spray it on your roots, go through and use your hands and just kind of massage it in. You can even use it like kind of, you know, roots to ends. It just smells so nice. All right, guys, so there is my final result for my flat iron curls. Here's a little back shot. If you're not sure if you got everything, you know, I like to just go ask my boyfriend. If anything looks odd or out of place, don't ask him if anything's straight, because it's just ask him if anything looks weird. Got a roommate, ask him. If you can hold up a mirror and check the back of your head, that's great. But what's nice about this is nothing has to be exactly the same. Like, it's just a kind of tousled, messy, kind of beachy lived-in curl. It's super fun and easy. So I hope this tutorial helped you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to message me. Otherwise, I will see you on the next tutorial.